महाराज की जय। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे, जय गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरे, जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो अनंत देव, लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो अनंत देव, जय गौरान्विताय गौरान्विताय गौरान्विताय, जय गौरान्विताय, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, जय जय गुरुदेव, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय श्री श्री गंधर्व श्री महाप्रभु की जय, लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्तराज भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, पतित पावन गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्, नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी। So Hare Krishna. Before I begin, I would like to seek the blessing of His Grace Matrapati Prabhuji, Parvati Mataji, and all the senior Vaishnavas who are present. And because of their mercy, I am able to share a few points today. So I also want to pray to you that you continue to shower your mercy and prayers for me, so that I continue this service like this. This is the most amazing seva where we get to preach about the glories of the Supreme Lord. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
थोड़ा बड़ा कर सकते हैं प्रभु?
Yes, I will do that. So with all your prayers and blessings, I'll continue with today's topic. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter number 1, canto number 1, chapter number 9, shloka number 15. One of you can be my chorus. Yatra dharma-suto rājā,
yatra dharma-suto rājā,
gadā-pāṇir vṛkodaraḥ,
gadā-pāṇir vṛkodaraḥ,
kṛṣṇo strī cāpaṁ,
kṛṣṇo strī gāṇḍivaṁ cāpaṁ,
suhṛt kṛṣṇas tato vipat.
suhṛt kṛṣṇas tato vipat.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for repeating the shloka. Now we shall go word by word meaning. Yatra, where there is dharma-suto, the son of Dharmaraj, Rājā, the king, gadā-pāṇir, with his mighty club in the hand, vṛkodaraḥ, Bhīma, kṛṣṇa, Arjuna, strī, carrier of the weapons, Gāṇḍivaṁ, cāpaṁ, bow, suhṛt, well-wisher, kṛṣṇa, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, tato, thereof, vipat, reverse. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhiṣṭhira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhīma, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gāṇḍīva, and above all the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pāṇḍavas. Purport. As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in the case of Pāṇḍavas. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhīma and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was the symbol of religion, and above all of them, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as the well-wisher. And yet, there were so many reverses on the side of the Pāṇḍavas. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons, under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pāṇḍavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarani. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami Niti Namane Namacharya Padaya Nidai Kripa Pradayane Gaura Kathadamadaya Nagar Brahmatarane Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangam Langayate Girim Yatpapadam Mande Shri Gurudim Taranam Paramanandam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So again, welcoming all the devotees for the Srimad Bhagavatam class, and as we are continuing the wonderful conversation between Bhishma Dev and Yudhiṣṭhira, and there are so many sages, so many other demigods who are present along with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the warfield of Kurukshetra. So we see here that Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was worried, and he was upset about the killing of so many people. That was the concern in the heart of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, and we see the example of Bhishma Dev here. So my question to you is that what do you think? Who is speaking this particular shloka? Who is talking about? There's so many. The person is saying that it can be the effect of the influence of the inevitable time and nothing much. So who is the person who is speaking this? Is it Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj talking or someone else? All right. So to answer to this, it is Bhīma Dev who is mentioning in this shloka, and he is talking about the reverses which Pāṇḍavas have faced. Now, many of you must be wondering, Pāṇḍavas being such wonderful devotees and going through so many reverses and troubles and problems, one after the other, some injustice, unfair things, and things like that. But you see the Pandavas' reaction towards that. They're not reacting to the situation; they're just responding to the situation, and they're always, acting on the ideal platform of a Vaishnava. So these doubts can come in our mind that somebody who is nicely practicing Krishna consciousness still facing so many difficulties. Then what is the point? What is the point performing so much of devotional service, going to the temple, attending Bhakti Vriksha, and so many things we are doing, but we are also facing the same problems which the normal karmi is facing, correct? Many times we might get this doubt in our mind. So that is why we have this guidance from the scriptures, which will clear our doubt and explain the situation. In the end of the shloka, we'll come to know what exactly was happening, why these things were happening to the Pandavas, and what was this? Was it because of the sinful activities which Pāṇḍavas have committed in their past, or is it because of something else which because of which they were facing these difficulties? And then we must be thinking that we are facing difficulties. It can be because of the various sinful reactions, activities which we have done in the past. But what about Pāṇḍavas? So these things will be answered in the end of the class. So please stay tuned during the session. And it is going to be interesting because I've got some very nice points from the classes which I've heard in this context, in this particular shloka. So here we have to understand one point, that Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj is worried because he is a very wonderful devotee. A devotee is always worried about one thing, and that one thing is that the devotee thinks that, am I doing something wrong? No, I shouldn't be doing something wrong which can be detrimental to my Krishna consciousness. That's the biggest worry a devotee has. A devotee is not worried whether he is rich, whether he is poor. Like last time my son was talking to me and he said somebody was telling him that, we need to be very rich. So the point is, rich means somebody who is taking the name of the Lord, Supreme Lord, then the person is rich. Otherwise, the person might be having a lot of money, but still the person is considered to be very, very poor. So that should be the firm understanding in the mind of a devotee. Am I rich? If I'm rich, which means I am taking the name of the Lord very, very diligently, and I'm following this process of Krishna consciousness, then I'm rich. And not only I'm rich, I'm very, very intelligent, because this process is not followed by everybody. So this is accepted by very, very chosen people. So I'm one among them. So that should be the confidence level of a devotee. And of course, we are from a wonderful sampradaya. And like I was thanking Mathurapati Prabhuji for giving me this opportunity. So I am also thankful to all the senior Vaishnavas and Prabhuji to connect me to this wonderful sampradaya, because there are great favors people do for others, but I think this is the best thing which we can do to others, and which others have done for us. Our great Vaishnavas, they have done this thing to us, where they have connected us to a wonderful sampradaya, a very, very powerful potential sampradaya, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just appeared 500 years back. So such a powerful sampradaya, if you're connected, then we must be very, very thankful to all our senior Vaishnavas, because this is not an ordinary thing. And this is the best thing which you have received. The great celebrities who are very rich, who are very popular, they might not be so fortunate, but we are very fortunate to be connected to such a powerful sampradaya. So when we are connected to this sampradaya, we have to ensure that we live up to the standard of the standards which are set by the previous acharyas. We take the examples of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we take the example of Gaur Kishoredas Babaji, we take the examples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is called as the Lion Guru, such powerful in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, that these orthodox Brahmanas, they used to run away seeing Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because he was a Lion Guru. Nobody could defeat him in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So when we are in this sampradaya, then we shouldn't be living in in that mode where anybody can come and talk about our scriptures and devotees and Krishna, and we just remain humble. We need to be humble when we are dealing with the devotees, when we are dealing with other people, and we are preaching Krishna consciousness. But this humbleness should go away when somebody is talking ill about the Vaishnavas. Then we shouldn't be humble. We should be in a position to respond, or we should be in a position to move away from that place. Okay, anyways, moving ahead. So here we see the example of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. It is mentioned in the shloka. Vishnudev is mentioning that how is it possible that you face so many reverses, and that cannot be any other reason except the effect of this time, the kala, the effect of the time which is working. That is the only reason. Otherwise, I don't see there is anything, because you are Yudhiṣṭhira, you are the son of Dharmaraj, who can never do anything wrong, who has never done anything wrong in the past, and in this life also, you have done nothing wrong. You are following everything very, very carefully, diligently, and ensuring that dharma is not affected in any way. In his entire life, Yudhiṣṭhira was such powerful person wherein he did no wrong decisions to affect the dharma. And we hear from wonderful examples, like when Pāṇḍavas were in the forest, and that time there was they were very thirsty, so they were in the search of water. So the first Bhīma will go and he will find that, just give me a second. Yes, sorry for disturbance. Yeah, so we were talking about the Bhīma. Bhīma, he goes to the forest in search of water, and then there is a lake, beautiful lake, and Bhīma was about to drink the water. So there was a warning. This lake was belonging to Yaksha, and Yaksha says, if you are going to drink this water without answering my question, you're going to die. So Bhīma said, no, I will answer your question, but first I need to drink water because I'm thirsty. And Bhīma drank that water, and immediately he was on the ground. He was dead. And then the other Pāṇḍavas brothers, they came in the search of water, and similar thing happened to them. But when it was the turn of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj comes there, and Yaksha gives the warning. See, if you do this, you will also be in the same position where your brothers are. So you need to answer my question. And then Yaksha will ask this question, and that question is a very wonderful question. In fact, for all of us, he will ask this question to Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, saying that, tell me the most wonderful thing in this world, the most wonderful thing. So we can say various things, the people who are non-devotees, they can say Domino's pizza is the most wonderful thing. Some people can say this burger or that burger is a wonderful thing. Some people can say the world tour is a wonderful thing. Some can say the European tour and blah, blah, blah. People can say wonderful things. But then see, we have to hear from the scriptures. In the scriptures, it is mentioned, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, he said this shloka. He says that ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam. He says that every second there are people dying there, and everybody is seeing, oh, today he is dead, tomorrow he is dead, and everything. Yesterday he was dead, and people are dying, people are suffering, correct? And everybody is watching that. And not only in the old age, in the young age, people are dying. And nowadays we see people dying at the age of 30, 35, 40 because of cardiac arrest, because of cancer, and so many other problems. Stress level, anxiety, suicides. We are seeing everybody is dying. But the most wonderful thing is that the people who are remaining, they are still very, very comfortable. They think that it is not my turn. It can be your turn, but we are not bothered about it. Oh, today he died, yesterday he died. This happened to this person, that news, so many things. But the remaining people who are there, they think it will not happen to us. And one day it comes where the same thing happens to them also. So this is the most wonderful thing. And that was the answer which was given by Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. And Yaksha was very, very pleased with this example. And in return, what he did, he ensured all these other Pāṇḍavas who were appearing to be dead, they rise up and they were made all right. So see, that is the example of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. He is such a person who is never taking a wrong decision. He has got so much of patience. Then how is it possible that he is going through so many difficulties? In the same manner, we can see the example of Bhīma. So Bhīma is known for one thing. You know what? He is known for performing all the Herculean tasks, for killing the demons, for lifting the mountains. Such is the task of Bhīma. We hear the example of this particular story when Pāṇḍavas were in Ajñātavas and they were staying in a house of a Brahmana. So in the Brahmana's house they were staying, and one day the Brahmana was very sad. So Mother Kunti, she will ask the Brahmana, what happened to you? Why are you so sad? So Brahmana responded that we are staying in a place where there is a tradition, and the tradition is that every day one person with lot of eatables goes to this demon called Bakasura, and this demon will, finish all the eatables, and he will also eat this man because he is a man eater. He's a cannibal demon. He's Bakasura. So why I'm sad is because today is my turn, and today he is going to kill me, and what will happen to my family? So these people, they used to carry a bullock cart full of eatables along with this man, and this Bakasura used to eat all the eatables and then finally eat this man also. So Mother Kunti said, do not worry, I have 5 sons. So instead of you, let me send my son to Bakasura. And you know who was that son who was going to go to Bakasura? That son was Bhimsen. So in a way, Bakasura must be very happy that today I've got a very healthy, very powerful person to eat, so so it's like you're eating paneer sabzi, and in paneer sabzi you get very small pieces, but in one place you go and there you see all the paneer pieces are very big one, very thick one, very nice one to eat. So you'll be very happy. Okay, fine, today I've got a nice dish to enjoy. So similarly, this demon Bakasura must be very happy now because Bhimsen is coming. But Bakasura is not aware who is this Bhimsen and what is his strength. So Bhimsen nicely, happily, he goes along with the bullock cart, and he goes and he stays outside this cave where Bakasura was sleeping. And instead of, going and surrendering to Bakasura, what he did, he thinks, I am coming from such a far place in the bullock cart. I've got all the eatables. And you know what Bhimsen likes? He loves to eat. And this bullock cart was full of nice, delicious food stuff to eat. So what he thinks, anyways, Bakasura is going to come out and fight with me and going to try to kill me. So before that happens, let me enjoy my meals. So Bhimsen is nicely enjoying his meals, and he is happily, he finishes everything, and then he is resting. And that time Bakasura comes and becomes very upset. You person, you have finished all my meals, and then you're sitting here comfortably. See what I'm going to do to you. So at that point of time, Bhimsen gives a very tough fight to Bakasura, and Bakasura comes to know the strength of Bhimsen. Bhimsen had the strength of 10,000 elephants' power in his one hand. And just imagine 2 hands, how much power. Nowadays, we measure the power on the scale of horsepower. Like the particular bike is, 10 bhp, 20 bhp, 100 bhp. That is a horsepower, through which the power of engine is judged. But here, Bhimsen was having the power of elephant power. So, and that too not 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, it is 10,000 elephants power. And how he got that power is a different story. I will not get into that in the interest of time. But then when Bakasura is fighting with Bhimsen, he realizes the immense strength of Bhimsen, and Bhimsen was able to defeat this Bakasura and kill him. And that Bakasura was killed, and the entire place was, everybody in that place became very happy. So that was the strength of Bakasura. So normally we might face trouble when we do not have somebody who can guide us in the right decision making. Correct? Sometimes devotees who are not married, I'm telling for them. So they must be very careful in choosing the right partner, because it is going to be very important factor for you to practice Krishna consciousness if the devotee doesn't choose a right partner. So you need to take the guidance of the senior Vaishnavas and choose the right partner, which is going to be helpful for your entire life, not as per your sense gratification point of thing. So people might face difficulty if they do not have a right person to guide. But here we had Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, who is following everything right. And then people might face difficulty if they do not have power, right? If you're not powerful, you are not taken seriously many times, correct? So, but here we have Bhimsen, who has got so much power, immense power, and people have seen his power. So nobody will, dare fighting against Bhimsen, because he's so powerful. He can change the entire, the entire direction of the river. He's so powerful. And then not only Bhimsen, along with Bhimsen, we have one more personality, who is Arjuna. Arjuna the Great. He's so powerful. He is such an expert bowman. He shoots the arrows in such a manner that he can stop the rainfall falling from the sky. He can shoot an arrow on the ground and ensure the water comes out of the ground. He doesn't have to, hire somebody to go borewell and spend like lakhs of rupees to get the water out of the river. out of the land, he has to just shoot an arrow chanting some mantras and the water will come out. He is such a powerful archer, Arjuna. And this we can understand with the example of the Draupadi Swayamvar. If you see the Swayamvar of Draupadi was designed in a particular manner by Drupad Maharaj, so that it is only Arjuna can succeed in that. That was the design. And all of you know what was the condition of Draupadi Swayamvar, that he has to shoot the arrow, the person has to shoot the arrow on the fish which is rotating on the ceiling. And he doesn't have to see the fish. The person has to see the reflection of the fish in the water and then shoot the arrow up. You can imagine how difficult task it can be, right? If you want to experience that, you can experience by, sometimes we look into the mirror and we try to do something, and or in the video also, if you, at least mirror we are used to, but in the video when we switch on, we are not used to what is right, what is left. And sometimes if you want to go right, your hand will go towards the left. And if you want to go to the left, your hand will go towards the right. Correct? Because we are not seeing directly, we are just seeing the reflection. So that is the confusion in the reflection. But you see how carefully and powerful Arjuna was. He shoots the arrow and it gets hit right in the eye of the fish, which was rotating on the ceiling. So that was the expertise of Arjuna. And Arjuna in his beginning days also, when he was a student also, you see the commitment which Arjuna had. It was not that Arjuna was getting all the power because Krishna was here and Arjuna did not work hard. Arjuna was definitely getting everything by the mercy of the Lord. But it is not that Arjuna did not work hard for that. And that's the lesson for a devotee, that, we must always be dependent on the Lord, but we need to do our hard work when we go to office, when we need to do our hard work when we are leading a family. And we should never complain on that. Like Arjuna was never complaining, Yudhiṣṭhira was never complaining, Bhīma and other Pāṇḍavas were never complaining about anything which is happening to them. So Arjuna used to wake up in the mid of the night, and he used to practice shooting the arrows, practice the mantras. And then Dronacharya becomes so happy with this student. He says that you are such an expert student that you are not going to leave anything with me. You're going to learn everything from me. And that is how the powerful and intelligent person Arjuna was. And then we see other two person also, Nakul and Sahdev. We normally don't hear much about Nakul and Sahdev, and we think that okay, they were like not so powerful. But Bhishma Pitama himself declared that Nakul and Sahdev are so powerful and so great that they have the power just like Indra. So Indra is not an ordinary personality. He is the head of the demigods. So Nakul and Sahdev had got so much of power that they can counter even Indra. They had the power similar like Indra. And Sahadeva was a great astrologer. We know that, Sahadeva, he could, when Duryodhana comes to Sahadeva and he says that, tell me the secret how I can win this war. So Sahadeva was such a simple-hearted person. He says that on the day of Amavasya, you must perform Kalibali Yagna. If you are doing Kalibali Yagna, then you are going to be victorious in this war of Kurukshetra. See, that was such a simplicity of Sahadeva. But then Krishna was there to protect, and we all know that how Krishna protected, and he changed the entire calendar. He started doing tarpan on the bank of the river, and then everybody was confused why Krishna is doing this, because today is not Amavas. But then everybody was confused, and sun and moon also got confused. So they come to Krishna and they said, no, I think there's some mistake. It is not Amavas today. So Krishna says, when sun and moon are in one line, when earth is there in the center, so that is what is called Amavasya. And today you both are in the center. I mean, you both are right in front of each other. So today is Amavasya, and today onwards the calendar is changed. So Pāṇḍavas, they performed Kalibali Yagna on that day, and they appear to be victorious. But on the other side, you see Duryodhana did this Yagna on the next day, and it was not fruitful for them. So see, we have such powerful strength from Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. We have somebody who's taking the right decision always. We have Bhīma, who is very powerful. We have Arjuna, who is very skillful. We have Nakul and Sahdev as Pāṇḍavas, who are powerful like Indra. And Sahadeva is also a great astrologer. In spite of all that, they were facing so many difficulties, so many reverses and problems. And along with that, in this shloka, Bhishma Dev is saying, Krishna is also present along with you. When Krishna is present, then what is the problem? So Krishna was also present, but still these problems were coming. And that is why we see these atheists, they sometimes argue, right? They question the devotees, what you are chanting Hare Krishna, what you're doing devotional service, what you're doing seva in the temple. Is it helpful? Like in my office, one person, he asked me straightforward question. You are doing all this, have you seen God? So my answer to him was, yes, I see God every day. And then he was surprised, how come you see the God every day? I said, not only me, my entire family sees the God every day. So he asked me, so what do you do after seeing the God? I say, oh, what else can we do? When God comes in front of us, we start offering prayers and we do arati and everything. We offer flowers to the Lord and we ask prayers. So he was saying, and then what you do? I said, then we offer whatever we have in our house to the Lord. Because in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, Lord is saying, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So we are offering whatever we have, like fruits or whatever nice items we are preparing in a proper bhava, we are preparing and we are offering to the Lord. And then he said, what are you doing after that? I said, then later on, Lord is giving us the food. We are eating the food, we are enjoying. Then he said, what else you need? What else you do after that? I said, what else you require after that? When you see the God and when you are praying in front of the God, when you are eating the prasad which is given by the Lord, then what else you require? Our life is successful. We don't need to do anything else. Then this person asked me that, okay, can you show me God? So I said, yes, I can show you God, but there is a process. If you seriously, I asked him, are you serious about it or you're just joking? You want to see God? So he said, yeah, I want to see God. Tell me the process. I said, yeah, the process is very simple. In 1 month, I can show you God. so he was like, okay, how do you do that? I said, yes, the process is simple. You do one thing. You start, there's a mantra, I'll tell you. This mantra is very powerful. And this mantra is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You need to chant this mantra, you know how many times? 16 rounds you need to chant this mantra because you want to see God in 1 month time. You know? Time is very short. So I can help you doing this by when you chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, 16 rounds. One round will take 7 to 8 minutes and you can calculate how much time it is going to take for you. And then I said you need to follow 4 regulative principles also because you want to see God. After that, after you see the God, you can stop doing all these things. Then he said, what are the 4 regulatory principles? So I explained him 4 regulatory principles. I said, once in a week, you also have to come to the temple. So after some time, he said, I think without seeing God, it is good because the process which you're telling, it is very difficult for me to follow. I know you can see God, but I do not want to see God. It's okay. Thank you so much. And he went away from there. So see, this is how we can, and I could do this because I was hearing Srila Prabhupada lectures, regularly at that point of time. The entire series I was listening, and that series was how Prabhupada was dealing with these people who used to come with stupid questions and all those points. So because I was hearing, I was able to answer those questions to this person, and not only answer, I could shut his mouth, and the person left because I had told him the process, and which was very difficult for him to follow. And then I was sure that, if he would have followed this process, after 1 month, there would have been some transformation. And even if there is no transformation, I would have still shown him God by bringing him in front of the deities, because through these eyes, we can only see the deities in the form of the God, because we do not have those perfect eyes. But yes, as a devotee, we can experience God in every second, every moment, and every decision which we take, every thought which comes to our mind. Everything which we are planning, Krishna is always with us. We feel such powerful vibrations from the Lord. It is not difficult. So coming back to this point here is that, even if we face the reverses or difficulties or troubles in our life, we need to learn from the example of these great devotees who were never ever affected by these so-called problems. These are not the real problems. And in the case of pure devotees, these problems are not actually because of the sinful activities committed by them. And that is the answer to this question which I had asked in the beginning, whether Pandavas were facing these troubles because of the sinful activities which they have done. So answer is no, they had done no sinful activities. They were facing these difficulties because by the will of the Lord. It was the Lord's plan to put them in so many difficulties and so-called problems. And not only Pandavas, you see the example of Bhishma Deva. Bhishma Deva is trying to console Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj that it's okay, it is the time factor, you have done nothing wrong, you're so powerful. And see who is consoling? Bhishma Deva, who is one of the 12 Mahajans, he is consoling. And situation you see Bhishma Pitama Bhishma Deva is in, he is pierced by the arrows, and he's lying on the arrow's bed. And in that situation, he is telling Yudhishthir, do not be morose, it is okay. A devotee is never complaining and is always happy. And see, such is the powerful factor of Bhishma Pitama. He is telling us by his example that a devotee never ever complains. And because a devotee, if we surrender to the Lord, saying that, my dear Lord, I am yours, and that point of time, Krishna takes our entire responsibility. And then whatever we see in our point, which it can be good or bad, but for us, that is the best thing which is given by Krishna. And why Krishna puts us into difficulty? Because when the Pandavas were going through so many calamities, so what happens? They can become more and more dependent on Krishna. And then so that in the calamities, devotees increase more dependence towards Krishna, and Krishna also gives his condensed attention towards such devotees. So this is what happens when we are in trouble. Krishna knows that these people, when they are in trouble, they are going to come to me. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka which talks about 4 kind of people come to me. Do you know what is that shloka? I think it is in the 7th chapter. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Jana sukrito Arjuna. Artho jignyaso artharthi jnani cha bhartarshava. So artho means distressed. So there are 4 kind of people who come to Krishna. But in the age of Kali, there is only one type of people who are coming to Krishna, and that is artho, which means that the people who are distressed. So people who are in distress, they come to Krishna, and that is why Krishna is giving the distress to the Pandavas. And Krishna is giving distress to the Pandavas so that Pandavas become more dependent on Krishna. And Pandavas are also very expert devotees. They are not complaining. They are becoming more and more dependent on Krishna. So they are telling by their example that, see, I am becoming more dependent on Krishna. And in this calamities also we're enjoying. So everybody who wants to enjoy, who wants to be happy, they can depend on Krishna. And there's also a great warning in this series. We learn that Kauravas, they were not dependent on Krishna. So in spite of being in the palaces, they were still upset, disturbed. But Pandavas, being in the forest, they were still happy. So if you want to be like Pandavas, even though the so-called calamities, disturbances, problems come, we should always be enthusiastic and happy. Correct? In Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned, people who are always attached to the sense enjoyment and material opulence, in their heart, the determination for the devotion service does not arise. The shloka is Bhogeshwarya prasattanam taya pahata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. So whatever we do, if we are attached to so many other things, then this determination for devotional service will not come in our heart, and we will not be happy. Simple as that. You can be very rich, not happy. You can be very beautiful, not happy. You can be very famous, not happy. Then what is the point? Becoming rich, famous, attractive, powerful. But when we are not happy, what is the point? Then the question is, how can we be happy? And Krishna is telling that also in Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 29th number shloka. He says, Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhṛdam sarvabhutanam jnānam mam shantim gacchati. He's saying a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living beings, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So we are not blindly accepting Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are understanding that he is the ultimate beneficiary. So if you want to be happy, just be a part in the enjoyment of Krishna, and that is how the entire happiness will come to us. It is as simple as that. We have to just always, in all the situation, we have to say that, Krishna, thank you for this, and I'm very happy. We shouldn't say this just out of saying. In my heart I'll be saying, Krishna, you are putting me in so many difficulties, but outside I'll say, Krishna, I am still very, very thankful to you. No. You should be very, very convinced from your heart and say, thank you, Krishna, for putting me in this situation, because you know best about me, and I'm stupid. I do not know better for me. All I know is that I have taken your shelter, and with this I will sail through. And not only sail through, I will also explain this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to other people also, and that way I'll become more and more dear to you. So in the end, I just want to mention this one point, that in the Upadeshamrita it is mentioned, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartanat. It is mentioned that we should always be enthusiastic. Why we should be enthusiastic? Because we are in the right path, we are in the right sampradaya, and there is nothing to lose for us. So that itself should put us into a lot of enthusiasm, and nishchaya, determination should be there, that by listening the scriptures, by hearing the glories of the Lord, my determination is going to become all the more firm. And dharyas, we must be patient, a lot of patience we must keep, because we know only about one life, but Krishna knows all our 50 billion lifetimes, and he knows what is good for us and what is not good for us. So don't think anything which is happening in your life, it is by chance. The only point we need to consider is, or we need to be careful about, is that are we surrendering to Krishna completely? Are we praying to Krishna that, my dear Lord, I am yours and please guide me? If we are making this prayer, then there is nothing to lose for us. We are always in the safe hands, and Krishna is going to, ensure that he will take the nice and the perfect service from us, and not only take the service from us, we will always be joyful. Remember the shloka 5.29, always we can be joyful when we are engaging and joining in the happiness of the Lord, by serving the Lord, by offering bhoga to the Lord, by doing kirtan arti in front of the Lord, by being very dear to other devotees, by respecting, caring to other devotees. This way, we are going to be very, very dear to the Lord. So I would like to give a pause here. We have some wonderful shlokas coming tomorrow. I think Rajanath Prabhuji is going to give the shloka number 16, which is all the more interesting. I didn't want to touch those points today, but yes, I would also join tomorrow to hear from Prabhu the upcoming points which are going to be discussed in the next couple of days. So I request all of you also to stay tuned on these wonderful series which is going on, because remember, we all face difficulties, and in these shlokas we are learning how to counteract the difficulties and how to understand what exactly is difficulty and what is not a difficulty. So I'll give a pause here, and if I have exceeded, I seek your forgiveness. If I have committed any mistakes, I request you to correct me and also seek your forgiveness for that. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and come on video and ask your questions. After that, we will go through the announcements. There are some announcements I've seen in the chat box. We will take care of that as well. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Pradeep Pavan Guru Maharaj ki jai, Nidai Gaur Premanand.